The desperate plea. The conference chamber aboard the Valeran flagship Luminous Hope felt suffocating despite its vast size. Ambassador Thyron stood before the Council of Seven, his crystalline skin flickering with distressed patterns of blue and violet. Around him, holographic displays showed the same horrifying truth from different angles. The Scorvath horde had breached the Kelnar system. 3 billion Valeran citizens had 48 hours before the swarm arrived. "We have exhausted every option," Thyron said, his voice carrying the harmonic undertones of his species. "Our weapons slow them but cannot stop them. Our shields delay them but cannot hold them. In 6 months the Scorvath have consumed half our territory and 17 of our colony worlds." Elder Xiphon, eldest of the council, dimmed with sorrow. "What you propose is madness, Thyron. The humans are a myth, a cautionary tale told to young species about the dangers of unchecked aggression." "They were real," Thyron insisted, pulling up ancient data files that flickered across the chamber. 200 years ago, humans walked among us. They traded, they negotiated, they explored. Then something happened. Something we still do not understand. They withdrew every ship, every station, every citizen from known space within a single solar rotation. They left behind only silence and warning beacons. Council member Drasha, her feathers ruffling with agitation, spoke next. "If they existed and possessed the martial prowess the old stories claim, why did they abandon us? Why did they hide?" Thyron had studied the fragmentary records obsessively for months. The archives suggest humans fought a war, not against us, but against something else. Something that terrified them so deeply they chose isolation over interaction. Whatever that enemy was, humanity decided the entire galaxy was safer if they disappeared. "And you believe these ghosts can save us from the Scorvath?" Xiphon's skepticism resonated through the chamber. "I believe we are dead if we do nothing," Thyron replied quietly. "The Scorvath do not negotiate." "They do not retreat. They consume biological matter and convert it into more warriors. Every world they take makes them stronger while we grow weaker. Our projections give us 8 months before the Confederacy falls completely." The silence that followed was heavy with desperation. The Valerans had built their civilization on principles of logic, cooperation, and peaceful coexistence. They had weapons, certainly, but warfare was not in their nature. They defended, they protected, but they did not hunt. They did not destroy. The Scorvath horde was a nightmare their philosophy had no answer for. "What exactly are you proposing?" asked Council Member Vorn, his bioluminescent markings pulsing with barely controlled fear. Thyron activated another display. 6 months ago, our long-range scouts detected an anomaly in the Veiled Sector, the region where humanity's last known colonies existed. It was a transmission, brief and encrypted. Our best analysts spent weeks decoding it. The message was simple. It was a beacon, still active after 2 centuries. It provided coordinates and a single instruction. "For emergency contact only. Approach with caution. Humanity remembers. You want to travel to the edge of known space, to a region we have avoided for 200 years, chasing a signal that could be anything from a trap to a malfunction?" Drasha's voice carried disbelief. "I want to save our people," Thyron said firmly. "The beacon is real. Something created it. Something maintains it. If even a fraction of the old stories about human military capability are true, they are our only hope." The council deliberated for hours. Every logical argument weighed against Thyron's proposal. The risks were astronomical. The chances of success were minimal. But the alternative was certain extinction. Finally, as the chronometer showed 39 hours until the Scorvath reached Kelnar, Elder Xiphon gave his consent. "Take the scout ship Whisper of Dawn. You will have a small crew and minimal resources. If you find nothing, return immediately. If you find hostility, flee. And if by some miracle you find humanity, pray they remember us with kindness and not resentment for whatever drove them away." Thyron departed within the hour. The Whisper of Dawn was fast, designed for deep reconnaissance rather than combat. His crew consisted of 5 volunteers. Navigator Selenis, who had studied the old star charts. Engineer Corvin, who understood pre-Exodus human technology. Sensor Officer Miara, whose species possessed the most sensitive perception in the Confederacy. And 2 security officers, Thex and Riona, who carried weapons everyone hoped would remain holstered. The journey took 11 days of hard acceleration through increasingly empty space. The veiled sector earned its name from the dense nebula fields that made navigation treacherous and long-range scanning impossible. Most species avoided the region entirely. Ancient maps showed dozens of human colonies had once thrived here, mining exotic materials and conducting advanced research. Approaching the coordinates now, Selenis announced, her tentacles dancing across the navigation console. The beacon should be within scanner range. Miara's sensors suddenly blazed with activity. Contact! I am detecting the beacon. But there is something else. Multiple somethings. Large energy signatures, dozens of them, positioned throughout the nebula. They are powered down but not inactive. It is like they are sleeping. Theron felt his skin flicker with apprehension. Can you identify them? Negative. The energy signatures do not match any known vessel configuration. The power readings are enormous, far exceeding our largest battleships. They have been here for a very long time. Transmit our identification, Theron ordered. Use the old human protocols. Tell them the Vialran Confederacy requests audience and assistance against an existential threat. Selenis sent the message. Silence answered. Seconds became minutes. Minutes stretched toward an hour. Then space itself seemed to shudder. Massive power surge, Miara shouted. Those dormant signatures are activating. All of them. Simultaneously. Through the viewport, lights began appearing in the darkness. Not stars, but running lights on vessels emerging from concealment. The nebula gas swirled as enormous shapes displaced it. Theron watched in awe as ship after ship revealed itself. They were angular, brutal in design, covered in armor plating and weapon emplacements. These were not exploration vessels. These were warships. A transmission crackled through their communication system. The voice was human, speaking the old common language with an accent that carried weight and weariness. Valran Vessel Whisper of Dawn. This is Commander Elena Vasquez of the United Human Space Fleet. Call sign Revenant. Your message has been received and acknowledged. Stand by for escort. Humanity has been waiting for this call. We hoped it would never come, but we prepared for the day it would. Welcome to the last line of defense. Welcome to the fleet that refused to die. Theron stared at the massive warships surrounding his tiny scout vessel, and finally understood. Humanity had not abandoned the galaxy out of fear. They had withdrawn to become something the galaxy might desperately need. They had become the monsters that fight other monsters. They had become the myth that returns when all hope is lost. And now, after 200 years of silence, the myth was answering the call.